Hi folks, hope you're doing well. I hope you're safe and well in this situation. And you've been able to get your shopping and everything else. Anyway, as you can see from the photos, it's the cigarettes from the people upstairs. From the lady upstairs, when she drops the cigarettes on the landing above and they bow down. That's what the photos are. I'm going to do a few videos on this issue because we've got problem, reaction, solution. There you go. That's it. Yeah, that's a good way to do it. Problem, reaction, solution. So this one is problem. Next one's going to be dealing with reaction and overreaction, and then solution on the next video. So, okay, problem. When I first moved into this place, the place above was owned by a lovely fellow called Grant, and it was him and his girlfriend Fiona living there, and they were lovely people. They were actually more than lovely. I mean, they were actually thankful that I was here and not the person who was here before me, because that person was a nightmare to them. That person would bang on the ceiling as soon as there's a tiny bit of noise, would get in their faces over it, would basically challenge them to fight over a tiny bit of noise. So they were really grateful to have someone in who was friendly. And even though I've got dogs and the dogs barked occasionally, there was never a real issue with that. If there was, then they simply come down and said, excuse me, around about that time, would you mind keeping the dog's noise down because we're trying to settle or whatever. Yep, no problem. If the music was too loud or videos were too loud, again, they would just come down and say, excuse me, it's a bit loud, would you mind turn it down? Cool, thank you. Brilliant. I had a few issues with their place. I mean, their place flooded at one point, which caused big issues with the roof here. Well, with the rooms here and in other areas. Caused a lot of issues with water pouring in. But yeah, so that was that situation. But then he sold with the intention of using the money to build himself a nice place on part of land he bought. So of course I was sorry to see them go, because lovely couple, good nature, very friendly, both just lovely people. You wouldn't say anything bad about. Of course, the person who bought the property then decided to, they bought it as a buy-to-let. That was all it was. And to start with, anyone who does buy-to-let, I mean, I don't think there's really, generally speaking, I think that's one of the lowest of the low people in the world right now, the buy-to-let people, because it's all about greed. And they've suffocated the housing market completely. So that if you're under the age of 35, your chances, unless you're incredibly wealthy, to own your own home is incredibly slim. It's all down to this buy-to-let market. It's disgusting, absolutely disgusting. And I think anyone who does it, no, sorry, I don't respect you in any way, shape or form, or certainly I don't respect what you're doing. So of course you then have a lot of short-term lets coming in. First people that moved in, they were lovely. They worked on the oil rigs, so they were highly over here. But when I saw them, I spoke to them, they were very friendly. Next people that moved in, they were a couple, and he worked on the rigs. She, not sure if she worked at all. I don't think she did. Now they're the ones I've spoken about them, that when he came back, they would argue a lot over the weekends, especially when they'd been drinking. But he was nice. We spoke quite a few times. We both supported the same football team, so we spoke about that on occasions. But he was a friendly man. No issue there at all. But then in June, these two moved in. And of course, I was trying to do the normal, be friendly with new people that moved in, be helpful in any way I can, if I can be helpful, be pleasant, be nice, etc., etc. And then they wanted a puppy because there was puppies here, and so I let them buy a puppy off me, which again was, if I could go back to that time, Would I sell them a pup? No, no way, shape or form. I could think of a million better homes that dog is in his buddy at the time of where he could go. Far better, especially due to the situation and what the solution options are. Yeah, I wouldn't have actually let them have him. Yeah, for any money at all. But I fell for it. Yeah, I mean, in reality, with the smoker, only on 2 occasions have I actually seen her with a smile on her face and acting friendly. And those were two occasions where she wanted a puppy off me. The other one, they got Buddy, and then when they realised that they could really do a friend for him, and there was one puppy left from another litter, they were sort of looking at maybe getting him a friend. And again, in between time, after they got Buddy, she wouldn't speak to me. If I said hello to her, she'd completely blank me. Yeah, when she saw me, she'd look at me as if she had, and with that look on her face, as if she's eating something incredibly sour. You know. And then as soon as she wanted another pup, oh hiya, do you mind if I come down and speak to you about the pup? How you doing, by the way? Yeah, pleased to see you. Yeah, he's doing okay. That one that I've got a few. Yeah, he's doing well. Yeah, we just wondered if you could maybe sell us another pup. But very friendly then. Oh yeah, very friendly then. But you see, even at that point, from really a week after they moved in, I was already mentioning to him about, can you please clean up the cigarette butts? Yeah, they're falling down into my area. Yeah, if you just drop them on the landing there, the wind's going to blow them down into my area, and there's no reason why I should have to clean up after you. Yeah, this is something that's been in your mouth. Yeah, it's incredibly disrespectful and disgusting. You should let this happen. And of course, yeah, they're going to deal with it. That'll stop, don't worry. But it never did. The cigarette butts may have got cleaned up once in a while if I'd said something, but yeah, that'd be once in a while. I mean, you see from the photos, their version of clean up is push the cigarette butts under a bit of wood to make it look as if they'd done something. But of course, at some point, that bit of wood's going to be moved, and all those butts are going to fall into my area. Yeah. The way God put it to me is, it's like if I eat like a chewing gum, and then when I finish with a chewing gum, I flick it up into their area. And I started that maybe June, July, and then they keep on asking me, please, can you stop doing it? I just keep on doing it. I just keep on doing it. And I just keep on doing it. And I just keep on doing it. And then I make some BS excuse for why I'm doing it. Yeah, that would be disgusting. It would be disrespectful. And every time they ask me to deal with it, and I don't, I just keep on doing the same thing. It'd be like me sticking 2 fingers up to them, saying F you. And it's like you're sort of saying, do something about it. Come on, fight me. Well, okay, that's a bit ridiculously stupid. But that is the situation. You see, when you keep on doing that, when you keep on doing things that are disrespectful and disgusting to a neighbour, you're going to have to expect there are going to be consequences. But not these two. They don't seem to think that. Anyway, I asked again recently about the situation, and I was told yes, he would speak to her when she got up. That was at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and that was one of the unkind things I made a joke about in my video, talking about difficult neighbours. Video which has been removed because they got so incredibly offended, but that would be in reaction, overreaction. That would be in that one, the next video. Talking in a bit more detail about that. But they come out with some complete and utter BS. You know, saying that it was okay for them to drop their cigarette butts or for her to drop the cigarette butts on there and not to clean them up, but for the wind to blow them into my area, and for me to have to pick them up, even at a time when there's a coronavirus, that means I could get infected by them because my plastic's bin fell over. That would be around November, December sort of time, probably November, I think. And I didn't clean up the issue of the plastics straight away. I pushed the bin back up. I did put I've got some bungee rope around the bins to try and make sure they don't fall over, but the plastics bin and the paper bin or cardboard bin, that one, they're both incredibly light. And when you get gusts of around about 50 miles an hour, they can easily blow over, even with the bungee, because you can't put the bungee, well, I can't put the bungee too high up because the fence that the bungee is on is quite low down compared to the height of the bins. So, the bungee is about halfway up. And so, but the more the wind buffers, the more the bungee then slides down the bins and the bin then falls over. Well, I didn't clean it up straight away because they didn't get a second dog off me because of the fact they got a dog who needs to be rehomed called Buster. And that dog initially was pooing in the area where the rubbish fell, where the plastic stuff fell. And because there was poo in the area, I didn't clean it up immediately. And that's because of the fact that even when my dogs poo out here and I have to pick it up, I often stand in poo. There's often bits that you just don't see. You end up standing in it. You don't realise until you go indoors and you walk all indoors. So I have to do that with my dogs. I don't have to do that with someone else's dog. When someone else's dog poos, but it's their area. If they're happy for that poo to be there, then that's up to them. I did clean up 90% of the rubbish. There was one bit that was left that I didn't see. Or again, maybe it's just a case where there was poo in the area and I didn't go over to the area to clean it up. No idea. But they say that that's the reason why it's okay for the cigarette butts just to be dropped down there. Now, as I say, that happened. They moved in around June. Around that sort of time. They got the puppy around that time, so tonight at the latest. So therefore, you're looking at 5 months, 4 to 5 months of cigarette butts being dropped down before my bin fell over. But I had to get that on. After I spoke to him, I asked him to deal with it, and it wasn't dealt with. I took my phone out with me when I had that conversation and put it on record. So I got all that on the phone. Recorded a conversation, and in many ways it's actually hilarious that they come out with this BS excuse as to why they're doing this. And it's, let's say, if I was chucking chewing gum up and I used a BS excuse, but something of yours fell into my area and you didn't clean it up, so I'm going to keep on flicking this disgusting thing up into your area, the thing that's been in my mouth. Even though it's incredibly disrespectful to you, I'm going to keep on doing it because you didn't clean something up immediately. You'd be like, really? You're going to be that immature about things? Tit for tat, that sort of stuff? Okay. Yeah. Tit for tat, is it? I say, problem, reaction, solution. This is a problem. And as I say, in the situation with the virus, when the virus first came out, Amber's pups were out there, outside, in the area where you can see the cigarette is on the stones, and that's where the puppies go. Now, at the time that the puppies were out there, we believed, we were being told by the media that animals, certainly dogs, could get the virus. Now, we were also not told about the fact of if somebody has been smoking who has the virus, even a mild symptom version of the virus where they don't necessarily know they've got it, how long does the virus stay on it? Now, we've been told normal surfaces, and because I've spoken in a video about normal surfaces, especially outdoors normal surfaces, they try to use that as an excuse for why it doesn't matter that the cigarette butts are chucked down there, and I have to pick them up and deal with them. Oh no, I've thrown the cigarette butts into the area where that plastic stuff was on, because that's their space. The butts come from their area, so I've chucked them back in their area. Guarantee you one thing, I know exactly what's going to happen. When they move out, they're going to be telling their landlord's father that I got a load of cigarette butts and just threw them in the area. They will completely miss out the fact that it was her cigarette butts that are there. They'll lie about it. Of course they will. But in the end, I just tell him to stop his daughter from renting the bloody place. Simple. Especially to a-holes. Because that's not good. They should be checking their tenants out. You've got to wonder what they did to the people that were next to them in the last place they went. How that situation meant they had to move. But anyway, there's the problem. And as I say, the problem is that we do have coronavirus, and because we have a coronavirus, it means that something has to be done. Has to be done. That if it was no coronavirus, then it's simply a case where it's annoying, it's irritating. But that's all it is. It's just irritating and annoying. But as soon as you add a pandemic that could kill people and has killed people that are rich and poor, fit and healthy and weak, old and young, this virus doesn't care who you are, who you think you are, how fit you are, how strong you are, how young you are. It doesn't care. Some people, most people end up with mild conditions or mild symptoms. But again, the virus just decides to randomly, be incredibly nasty to some people. And in the end, even if it was me that got the virus, it would still affect my dogs. Because if I got the virus and I died, they would have to be put into a kennel and then rehomed. The likelihood is they probably wouldn't go to the same home. They would probably have to be split up. And that would be incredibly difficult for them. Especially the fact that, Amber is a daddy's girl, Mollie is a daddy's girl. Chewie loves to sleep on my bed. And get loves in the mornings. And cuddles and kisses and all that. They know me. I know them. They've been with me, Riley certainly, since he was 1 day old. From 1 minute old. When I picked him up from the vets after they did a C-section on Lucy, so that would have been, I imagine he would have been about 2 hours old. And he's been with me ever since then. He's known nothing else. So he would have to go to someone else who doesn't know him, he doesn't know them. He may probably use his mum, because chances that whether they could take the mum, would they even know that Lucy is his mum? Probably not. So they would miss each other, because again, she's known him since he was a baby. Whenever I say to her, "Is that your boy? Are you his mummy?" She wags her tail. She knows. She knows that is the case. That Riley is her puppy. She knows that. And they play together, and she puts up with stuff from him. Like when we go out, he gets a bit excited, so he nips the mum, and she puts up with it because that's her pup. So they're her bond. And the risk that they could lose each other, obviously. Do I think that that's something that should be allowed to happen? No, I don't. But I say we're dealing with people who really, to put it in a way that would try and express it the best way, they don't give a shit about any of that at all. None of it. They couldn't care less. And so, that's the problem. So yeah, next video will be about reaction, overreaction, and then the options for solution will come after that. Right, well, you take care. I will speak to you very soon, so I'll do the next video soon as well. It just makes sense to do it. I mean, I've tried to do this video, I think about 12 times now, and I realised probably the best way to do it is split it up. Problem, reaction, solution seems to fit in here perfectly well, because obviously you've got the problem, then you've got the reaction, their reaction, and you've got my reaction to it. You know, how I said something that got them to overreact, and then this is partly going into that, and then my reaction to it continuing, etc., etc., and then the possible options after that. So there you go. You take care. God bless.